What's up, YouTube? It's Fran B, aka Blaze here, and it's time for another movie review. So I just went to the movies and I just saw Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween, which is based off of the original Goosebumps movie and off the old TV shows from back in the day, back in the like 90s, 2000s, somewhere around that time. It did have Jack Black in it. Some people told me Jack Black was not going to be in it, but he is in it. He plays R.L. Stine. Pretty much it's kind of like a sequel to the first one, but kind of not, because it's a new storyline. It's based off the first R.L. Stine book that he wrote when he was like a teenager, but he never finished it. And basically it has a whole new cast of actors in it. But it was it was kind of a good film. I don't know about this one. I remember the first Goosebumps being a lot better. It just seemed a lot more scarier, a lot more action, a better storyline. I'm going to give this movie probably only a 5 out of 10 because it was just okay. It wasn't the greatest. I actually liked the first one a lot better because there was more action, more scary stuff, more Halloween stuff. Basically, this one was like too much of like a family drama type romance movie. There was actually a lot of romance in it. I don't know why. It didn't even seem that scary. It was more like comedy also. It did have Slappy, the dummy that was the main villain again in this movie. It had Jack Black in it as R.L. Stine. He only had a bit of like a cameo in this time around because basically it was the new cast of characters that took over to finish the book. I think it has one of the kids in there from Stranger Things. It had Chris Parnell, who I recognize from Saturday Night Live, and he did those songs with Andy Samberg back in the day. He was also in the show Archer. It had the lady that plays the mother on the Goldbergs as the mom in this one. Who else was in it? It also had the Chinese guy, Ken Jeong from, so I can't pronounce his last name, but he's the Chinese guy from The Hangover. He was in this movie as the next door neighbor. That was pretty much it. The other person that plays one of the main guys, I think he is from the movie It, the newest one. And then the person that played the kid's sister in this movie, I think she's from the TV show Jessie. Not really too sure. But overall, it was kind of okay. It wasn't the best. I'm only going to give it like a 5 out of 10. Can't remember what else. Pretty much that was it. There was only some good scenes, some not. The scenery was okay. It took place in like New York. I think it was New York. The scenery was alright. I just don't really know what else to say about this movie. Basically, the kids go to Stine's house. Oh, it actually does have a cameo in this by the real R.L. Stine. He plays like a professor and a principal of the school. So that was pretty cool to see the real R.L. Stine. Basically, the story's about these kids. They go to Stine's house. They find his book, like the first book that he ever wrote. They open it up, and Slappy comes out in the trunk. The kids bring Slappy to life, but then Slappy has his own ideas to make Halloween come alive. So he uses his magic and electricity of the city to come alive, and he makes all the Halloween creatures come alive. So the kids got to team up again to use the book to send all the creatures back to like another dimension or back in the book. So basically, it was kind of like the same setup from the first movie, but the first one just had a lot more action in it, a lot more scary, like 1 or 2 jump scares. This one was more comedy. I pretty much laughed a little, and it was too much romance because it was to do with life problems of the family and try to bring the family together. There's not really that much to say. It was just an okay movie. I wouldn't recommend it. I would just give it a 5 out of 10. But it was pretty cool to see those 3 like famous kind of actors who I actually recognize and who I watch in this movie. But Goosebumps 2 was okay. There's not really pretty much else to say. Pretty much spoiler alert, but the ending of the movie is they bring all the creatures back into the book. Slappy goes up into the sky. He disappears for a while. He goes to R.L. Stine's cabin, and Jack Black plays R.L. Stine. So Slappy has wrote his own book, and he uses his magic to transport R.L. Stine to be one of the characters in his book. So R.L. Stine goes into another dimension. So I think pretty much the next movie is probably about trying to get R.L. Stine out of the book if they do make another movie. But please keep on watching. Please subscribe. Thank you.